Hi, Dad. What game are we playing today?
We are playing Power Grid.
Power Grid. Do you like Power Grid?
I love Power Grid. This is one of my favorite games. And when I heard about this years ago, I could tell just by hearing what it was about that this was going to be a game I liked. I bought it and I love it. The problem has been it's a couple-hour game is finding people that are going to play it with me. But when I do, I just eat it up. Just because there's so many different things to think about. It's pure strategy game. No dice rolling, no worry about luck. It's completely watching your opponents. So many facets to be thinking about all the time. I love it.
All right, well, what's the objective?
The objective in Power Grid is, as you can see here, we've got the map of the U.S. On the back side, we've got the Germany map. But the objective is to get some cities out here and essentially being able to power up your cities with power plants that you have purchased along the way. And the person that can power up the most cities at the end of the game wins. And it doesn't mean you've got to have the most cities out there. You have to be able to power them on that last turn as well, which involves all the resources. So there's just so much to it. But I think the best way, I'm not going to go into details on this one because there's so many different facets of each step. But I will give a quick overview of what they are. And this, as you can see, as always,
handy dandy card. We love
our handy dandy turn summary. So for example, you can see here, I'll show a lot of different facets of it. Over here we have, on this side, is the turn order, which has a big impact. So depending on who goes first or who goes last, different facets of the game depend on that. So you want to keep an eye on who's going to get to go first because they're going to have some benefits. Who goes last, they're going to have some other benefits. That's all determined over by here on how many cities you're powering up. So if I've got 4 cities out here, I'm going to be over on 4. Somebody else may have 5 cities, another person may be up to only 3 cities, and they're up to 4 cities with me, for example. So he's going to have first in turn order, I'm going to have second in turn order, and then he will go, and then red would go if we were doing a 4-player game. Number 2 is buying the power plants. The best begins. What it means is whoever's in first place gets to go first, and this is our power plant auction.
Look at that.
So that's really the first thing you do, and you can see different type of power plants. It tells you different resources needed to power them up. It tells you how many cities they power when they're turned on, which is fantastic. So you're going to first auction these off. The person who gets to go first picks up of the current 4 market which one they want to bid on. And these are done by auction, so people can choose how much they want to spend on them. He may offer this one up for bid, and he will start at number 5. And then if the next person wants to bid a higher at 6 or 7, they bid, and it keeps going around until someone has purchased this.
And then you've got your Monopoly money over here to play with, right?
Exactly. So you've got all this that you can purchase with. So say I bought that. Then the next thing comes up is, a number 13. Well, all of these shift down, and that goes into the futures market, and it keeps going along the way.
So the only ones you can auction from are that top row.
That top row, right. But as things get purchased, so maybe this one gets purchased next by a player, next thing that comes up is a 12. Well, that's going to fit right in here.
Oh.
You know, it may, and it'll just keep shifting around. So other beneficial ones are going to come out. Take a look at some of these.
So the ones that come out are always going to be numerical.
Yeah,
Organized.
and then they're going to get an order. So for example, some of these higher ones, this will power up 7 houses. As you can see, it's similar to this one that can power 2. So over time, you are only going to be able to keep, like if I had these as my power plants, I can only keep 3 at a time. So if I do purchase this one later, I'm going to have to get rid of one of these. You know, so maybe I'll get rid of this one, and that one's out of the game. So I'm going to continue to auction these off. There's all sorts of rules about how that gets done, and you can bid up as high as you want, how those all shift into play. But it's cool. You got to be watching the auction, and you got to know what type of power plants, what type of resources, when is a good trade going to happen. Because again, at the end, you're going to want to be able to power the most cities. So if I have cards like this, the most at the end of the game I would be able to power is 9 cities. That's not going to win me the game. So I know I've got to plan ahead.
All right. Well, let's see how you get cities out there then.
Exactly. Well, you're stepping ahead even there. The third phase of the game is to buy resources. So look down here at the resources. And this tells you how much it costs to buy a resource. My power plant can burn For example, this one can burn coal.
Two coal powers one.
Yeah, power one city, or if I moved up, I can have coal or oil. So I can buy those resources. There's others that have garbage. There's other uranium, and some are wind power.
Ooh.
So you don't have to buy any resources. So
Love
it's pretty
those.
cool. But then I'm going to pay for as many as it costs. So if I want to buy 4 of these, it'll cost me 1 for each of these resources, and then 2 for that one. So I'll spend that money to buy all of these resources. But chances are I'm going to want to buy more to be able to power up. This one's actually going in reverse order. So the person that's a
resource buying goes in reverse
Yeah.
order to last at first.
yeah. So if you want to be buying resources cheaper, you're going to not build out your cities as much because then you can buy cheaper.